All right, so normally when we talk about stress, we're throwing around words like cortisol or blood pressure, right? Well, today we're diving into an explainer on a highly spiritual framework to diagnose and maybe even cure what ails us. We're going to look at how modern stress is affecting your body in ways you've probably never imagined.
Before we really get going, I want you to honestly ask yourself, what exactly is your relationship with stress? Do you just see it as a biological reality? The inevitable byproduct of a crazy schedule? Hold on to that typical medical viewpoint for a second, because it sets the perfect stage for the highly unique spiritual perspective we're about to explore. We're stepping completely outside the conventional boundaries of health today.
So our source material for this explainer is a fascinating text called the Super Absolute Health Method. And what's truly interesting here is its central, very bold claim that by curing the mind, you can actually cure up to 70% of all illnesses. The text presents this worldview where our physical health is deeply, inextricably linked to our spiritual and emotional states. It's definitely an intriguing lens through which to view human wellness.
Okay, here's our roadmap for today. We'll cover 1. The root of illness, 2. The danger of complaints, 3. Healing through forgiveness, 4. Smiles and gratitude, and 5. The power of faith. Let's jump right in.
Starting with Section 1, the root of illness, connecting the mind and body.
To really illustrate this connection, the source material contrasts physical symptoms with their supposed spiritual causes. For example, it looks at workers in super high-stress environments, specifically folks trading in crazy volatile grain markets, and notes they regularly developed gastric and duodenal ulcers. Now, the author asserts this is absolutely not a coincidence. The specific environmental stress, that constant mental whiplash of rising and falling prices, literally maps itself onto a specific bodily location. To avoid this kind of physical breakdown, the text suggests we have to build a profound mental toughness to endure those sudden adversities and environmental shocks.
And that brings us to a really provocative quote from the text. It says, "People become ill when they want to escape heavy responsibilities or when their pride is crushed." Basically, the author is pointing out that illness, even modern manifestations of depression, can sometimes act as this unconscious escape hatch. I mean, think about it. Have you ever miraculously needed a sick day right when you were totally overwhelmed by a heavy project? The idea here is that the body creates the illness to give the mind a way out. It's a fascinating way to look at why our bodies break down when we're stressed.
Moving right along to Section 2, the danger of complaints, the spiritual mechanism of disease.
Okay, so the absolutely crucial concept here is what the text calls the law of same wavelengths. Think of this as a spiritual principle where similar mental frequencies naturally attract each other. So when you complain, you're generating a negative wavelength. And the book states that this complaining mindset literally clouds the mind and acts like a giant magnet for harmful spiritual influences. It's literally like your negative thoughts are sending out a beacon.
Let's break down how this cycle actually works. It starts off innocently enough, right? Just some habitual complaining about your day. But that complaining clouds the mind. And because like attracts like, that clouded mind draws in negative or animal spirits. And then, finally, those attachments cause actual physical damage, like those stomach ulcers we talked about earlier. So in this framework, disease isn't just a biological failure. It's the final stage of a spiritual cycle.
Next up is Section 3, Healing Through Forgiveness, Breaking the Karmic Block.
Now here is where this philosophy gets truly challenging. The author argues that holding a grudge, even when you are 100% legally or morally in the right, can manifest as an incurable disease. Even if someone totally wronged you, even if all of society agrees you are the victim, harboring thoughts of hatred is ultimately going to destroy your own physical body. That righteous anger, it poisons you, not them. But there's a fix, and the book details an exact mechanism for it. First, you have to acknowledge the grudge. Then, make the active conscious choice to forgive. The moment you do that, the karmic block begins to dissolve. The spiritual conflict unravels, and physical healing can finally begin. Having a forgiving heart fundamentally changes your spiritual state, which in turn generates the actual power to heal your physical body.
All right, Section 4, Smiles and Gratitude, Building a Resilient Body.
In the preface of the source material, there is this incredibly striking metaphor about stepping off the runaway train of desire. The author notes that, just like we don't really appreciate air until we're drowning, we rarely realize the true value of our health until we fall ill. We spend our whole lives on this runaway train, never satisfied, never grateful for the ordinary. Realizing that simple blessing of health often brings what the author calls tears of reflection.
So how do we practically apply this? The author says we need to maintain a life of smiles and gratitude, and gives us specific ways to cultivate it. It starts small, thanking your family. If you're currently ill, it means showing genuine gratitude to your nurses and caregivers. But the deepest level here is realizing that you are literally being kept alive. It's a massive shift, moving from this idea that you are independently powering your own life to realizing you're sustained by the forces and people around you. Living with smiles and gratitude shifts your focus, and the text claims that immediately starts improving your health.
And finally, Section 5, the power of faith, the ultimate secret to longevity.
Think of your immune system like a spiritual shield. According to the text, a lack of purpose or a loss of living force destroys this shield, dropping your immunity. But strong faith, that actively boosts it. A bright mind isn't just a nice, comforting thought. It physically enhances your body's defenses by giving you a real powerful reason to live.
To summarize these ultimate secrets to longevity and absolute health, you've got to maintain strong faith. You need to live in accordance with divine will, release that heavy reliance on others, and really nurture a consistently bright, positive mindset. By focusing on the bright side and living through faith, the text claims you build an internal environment where disease simply cannot thrive.
And that essentially wraps up our explainer. We've explored this fascinating framework where physical health is dictated by our spiritual and emotional realities, from the hidden dangers of just complaining about your day to the profound healing power of forgiveness and gratitude. So I want to leave you with this final thought drawn from the text. Could changing your mind truly be the key to fundamentally changing your physical body? It's definitely a question worth pondering long after this ends. Thanks for joining me on this one, and keep exploring.